I really like this chart. As a matter of fact, it's become one of my favorite charts because not only does it speak to the truth of the serious daily and yearly border invasion into our country, this chart also saved President Trump's life when he was almost assassinated in a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a would-be assassin fired at President Trump, bullets flying into the crowd, killing Corey Comprator, but also grazing President Trump's ear as he turned his head to look at this chart and inform the American people about the invasion our country has been under. But the American people are suffering it every single day. Let's talk about what that CBP One app has done. It was introduced in January of 2023, and approximately 813 illegal aliens have been paroled into American communities in all 50 states, with 96% of the aliens they are released in, 96% of the ones that come to ports of entry by making a handy-dandy appointment on an app that the Biden administration has provided to anyone all over the world, by the way. We can carry on and talk about the other outrageous thing that helps maybe you feel peaceful at night as you and your wife walk along. People aren't coming across maybe on your land because they're able to go to ports of entry. Another way they're able to get into our country is by flying in from other countries. 530,000 inadmissible aliens have flown directly into U.S. airports. Maybe that's why you don't see a giant flow across your land, Sheriff. Let's talk about jobs. You were saying jobs. They want to come in and they're pursuing jobs. Oh, the cartels are getting jobs, all right. Cartels and coyotes are currently making around $13 billion a year in human trafficking. Our wide open border is definitely providing jobs. 26 times more than that of the previous administration under President Trump. The Mexican cartels employ an estimated 175,000 members and have associates, facilitators, and brokers in all 50 states in our country. Yeah, we're having jobs provided for these people. You said certain policies smack of racism. For example, walls. I'd have you know, Sheriff, there are 77 major border walls around the world. 45 countries are planning and building more. Walls are not racist. Walls keep people safe. And this country is not safe. People are being murdered every day. The woman you're sitting next to's daughter was raped and brutally murdered. That's not funny. Walls are not racist.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a lot to get through because we've got about 4 years to walk through. That chart, of course, mischaracterizes when Mr. Trump left office. But there's no question that the problems at our border have significantly increased over the last several years. We can debate the cause of that, and we have debated the cause of that. There's unquestionably a lot more climate migration. There's unquestionably a lot more authoritarianism in Central and South America that is leading to political persecution and to people wanting to flee. But there's a problem. And what happened is the administration began to address that problem as it was increasing. But Republican attorneys general all around the country filed lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit to stop administrative action. So in response to that, the Biden-Harris administration went to Congress to say, let's work on bipartisan legislation to try to solve our border crisis. And Senator Lankford, the second most conservative Republican in the Senate, negotiated for months with an independent and a Democrat and with the administration to come to some sort of bipartisan resolution. which they did miraculously, because this has notoriously been a very difficult issue. Now, that deal was the most conservative border security immigration bill that's ever been agreed to by any Democratic administration. It had a number of different provisions, but I think most importantly, would have dramatically streamlined the asylum process. And let me just say something about the asylum process, because there's a lot of talk about legal immigration and illegal immigration. Asylum is legal immigration. It is not illegal immigration. It is part of our laws that you may seek asylum under certain circumstances. The problem we have at the border and the problem we have with our asylum process is that only 20 to 25% of people who apply for asylum ultimately get asylum. But it takes 7 to 10 years for that process to play out. This border security bill would have dramatically shortened the asylum process such that it would be over in 6 months. And the incentive for someone who knows that they do not qualify for asylum to come across the border would be eliminated. And many of those 75 to 80% of people who are not eligible for asylum would not come here and would not be granted work permits. The other thing it does is it would increase visas, because we do have a work shortage. We have a job shortage for agriculture, for construction, for restaurant workers, hotel workers, home care, nurses, doctors, scientists. This is all what I hear in my district. We need to increase those quotas. That bill would have done it. We need, as Mr. Heike said, to increase personnel at the border to deal with the problems so that we can address the women who are being raped, so we can address the cartels that are fueled by American-made guns. We need more personnel. We need more resources. This bill would have done it. But what happened? Donald Trump killed the deal. He's open about it. And you know why he killed the deal that would have dramatically solved our problems at the border? Because he cares more about his own election than he does about the problems facing the American people. And he wanted chaos at the border so that he could run on it. And when you watch him at the debate, he answers every single question. It doesn't matter what the topic is, by going back to immigration. That's what he wants to do. I want to put up, finally, this last quote here from James Lankford, who was the author of this bill and was understandably very frustrated that it did not pass. It is very, very clear that the Republicans do not want to solve the problem at the border. And so what has happened since Donald Trump killed this bill that would have dramatically addressed the solutions at the border? President Biden and Vice President Harris have had no choice but to implement executive actions to streamline this process so that people coming in have to come in through ports of entry. So that those 73,000 people who are stopped at the border, they're not getting in, they're stopped at the border, have to go through the points of entry so that we can vet them and check them for their criminal history. And that has reduced border crossings to a level not seen since 2019. More than 55%. But that's not the solution. The solution is legislation, and the Republicans will not meet in the middle. I yield back.